as a business person, do you ever feel run down and like you're on the treadmill and you don't know what to do to take care of yourself? Today, I have on an incredible guest, and we're going to talk about how you are the CEO of your health. When your health fails, everything in life is challenging. So it's so incredibly important to take care of yourself through different self-care measures. And I have on today Michele Broad, who is a certified women's health and adult nurse practitioner. She has been practicing medicine for the last 25 years, owned her own personal nurse practitioner practice in California for 8 of those. And she has worked with thousands of women over her career and has loved every minute of it. So today on the Max Potential Habits podcast, if it's your first time here, this is your place to come for tips, tools, and inspirational interviews to learn how to optimize yourself through implementing stellar habits that we talk about on the show. And I bring you every week because I want you to be able to thrive and feel alive in your life and business. So let's get started. Welcome to the show, Michele.
Thank you so much, Amanda. I'm so happy to be here and I love your show. So it fits right in with the topic.
It's awesome. I want to give a backstory for everyone that you and I think we met on LinkedIn. Was it LinkedIn?
No, it was Instagram.
Was it Instagram? Okay.
Yeah, we were commenting on Rachel's post or something that she put out. Yeah.
Okay. So this is so cool because it was like, you said something that, caught my attention. And I think probably lately I've been really big into self-care and slowing down. And I tend to be, my company name is NFA Coaching, no fucking around. And so I tend to be like this really powerhouse person who pushes through. And lately I've been going, okay, it's NFA Thrive. How do you thrive? And part of that is hugely self-care. So when you and I had our, pre-show and pre-interview conversation, I was like, this is awesome. Everything that you were saying really resonated. So let's start with sharing a little bit. How did you get into the nursing world and women's health?
Well, my dad was sick when I was born. My dad was sick my entire life. And so I grew up in and out of hospitals taking care of him. And I just knew that I was fascinated by it. And I knew that I was going to end up somewhere in the medical world. Just didn't know where I was going to end up. And then I just felt like, who knows a woman's body better than a woman? And I was just always drawn to that profession. So I became a nurse. And then I decided I really wanted to go and I wanted to be a doctor. I just didn't want to stop there. But my dad was sick and he was dying. He died when I was 21. And so I just decided, well, I'm going to go to nursing school, see if this is something that I really want to do. Started doing that. And then after I got done with that, said, I want to go on. Started, studying and doing all the stuff that I needed to do for medical school. Then I got pregnant, had some kids, and I was working out in the field. And one of my dear, dear doctor friends said, you should go and become a nurse practitioner because it's the best of both worlds. Because I love the humanistic aspect about nursing. And I love the medical and science part about, doctors. So it's kind of like merging the two together. And so that's where I ended up. So I've been doing that for the past, I don't want to say 20 some odd years. Yeah, it gives away my age, but yeah.
It's fine. I say rock your age, right? That's amazing. Okay. And it's been in California, primarily the years of working and have you worked with mostly women or families, or what has the evolutionary process been for you?
Yeah, I started off as a women's health nurse practitioner. So I did that for years. And then I decided I wanted to go back and get my family nurse practitioner. So I'm certified in 2 different categories. So now I do a little bit of both. And I serve, I have an online, I have a subspecialty in hormones. So I do hormone balancing and all things like that. So I do that on the side. But most of the time right now, I practice part-time because in 2017, kind of like you, I was one of those go, 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 all the time go-getters. And I just kind of burnt out in 2017 and I had to really just stop. And I stopped everything and just kind of had to relook at my life and say, okay, what is this really about? Like you were just saying, you have to thrive in all of this stuff. And if you're not happy and if you're not healthy, then, like I tell my women, you don't have anything if you don't have your health. So it took me about a year and I kind of revamped and kind of thought, what makes me happy? because most of us, as businesswomen, whether you're an employee or you're a, entrepreneur or a career woman, you're always answering the question to other people. They're asking you, well, what do you bring to the table? So you're always answering what you're doing for somebody else. But you never usually get the question, well, what can we do for you? So I think it's really important that we answer that question to ourselves. So I said, okay, what does Michele want? And so then I started deciding, I need to get back into, I was really healthy, but I got to get back on my healthcare track. I got to put some self-care in there. I've got to balance this thing out. And so I've gradually over the past 3 years kind of just cut back. I only practice 2 days a week now. And I'm really just concentrating mostly on the online stuff and the educational portal there, and just really talking to women about self-care.
That's incredible. Yeah. So I'm reading in your bio that you say that you do online women's educational site. And so moving and shifting in that direction to slowing down to 2 days a week in the office setting is what you're saying, in the practitioner setting. Wow. Okay. First, I want to highlight to everybody listening, I think that's a very powerful question that if you're, you might be driving listening to this, but if you're somewhere where you can actually write that down, what does, say your name to yourself, want? What does Amanda want? What do I want in my life? And I think it's so true that when you say, women tend to put other people first. And I know that's a gendered conversation. A lot of times we're socialized to have women be kind of the pleasers, the emotional caretakers. They're there for everyone else. And then when you step into, you said the humanistic aspect of nursing, I think it's very similar with coaching in a lot of ways where, I'm the support system for a lot of people, including my family and my ex-partner and my friends and all these. And it's like, oh, wait, at the end of the day, who's going to be there for you if you're not?
Absolutely.
So it's such an important question. And I love that. I want everyone to ask themselves that today. Like, what do you really want? What makes you thrive? What gets you up in the morning and has you going, I love my body. I want to take care of my physical health, my mental health. I want to do work that I love. Those our life really ultimately isn't that long. It seems like it is.
Yeah, it seems like it is, but it's gone in a flash. And the funny thing is, before I was thinking about this morning when I was just sitting in my quiet time, just reflecting on, I'm going to be on the podcast and stuff, is just thinking about, we don't think of our health like how we think of any aspect of our lives until it's brought to the forefront for whatever reason. It just sits in the back of our subconscious. Yeah. And then either we get sick, somebody close to us gets sick, or something tragic happens. And then we go, oh, wow, I better start looking at things a little bit differently. And I think that, for whatever reason it is, when we look at all aspects of our lives, our health is it's put off to the side for whatever reason we do it. I don't know why, but we do. And I've been trying to answer that question for years, but it's thought of as something very distant and something very different than our lives. And what I try to do, and like what you talk about, is how you need to incorporate it into everything that you do. It's just, it's an everyday thing. And just like how you put other things on your list, you need to put yourself on your list.
Oh, this is so powerful. I want to go there a little bit. You're saying, you think a lot about what we do, and I'm so intrigued by the human puzzle as well. It's like, what makes us thrive and why do we neglect our health? And, I think it really has so much to do with that idea of the pleasure pain principle, where we seek pleasure in the moment and we avoid pain at all costs. And our body does this beautiful thing, which is a feedback system that says, wake up, you're not taking care of me. And so we develop those symptoms, which actually are a huge gift, right? It's like your body is showing up to tell you something's off, you're out of alignment, you're not congruent, you're not taking care of yourself. And then you're forced to take care of yourself.
Yeah. And what I want people to do, especially women, is to be preventative, be proactive. So start thinking about it before all that stuff happens, because, your body, our body talks to us, and you just have to slow down enough to listen. But we just, we don't make our health, most women don't, a priority. We make everybody else's health in our lives. We make our business a priority. We make our families a priority and everything else that we've done. But it's like, okay, when you ask somebody, well, what have you done for your health lately? Most people can't even tell you what they do, what they've done. Or they have the concept that being healthy is so hard and so expensive, which, I just talked about that a little while ago. It's not. That's a myth out there. So I think that, we just have to start thinking about it more. And it's really good because right now, if you look at a lot of other podcasts and a lot of other blogs, the self-care topic is out there.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
we're seeing a lot on meditation. And I just went to a conference last weekend where they were talking about how just even 10 minutes of meditation can really like just open up your frontal lobe, and you can have so much more creativity. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, we're in a 24/7, and we've been in that mode for so long. Go, 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 go. And I think that for women, we get that double-edged sword. You know, we're told you got to be a mom, you're a wife, so you're a caregiver on this end in your home. So you are the CEO of your own home. And then if you want to go out and have a career, yeah, go out and have that too, but then you've got everything else too. So
Yeah.
you're running on, you know, on both ends. You're like the candle at both ends, burning the candle at both ends of the wick. And I think that we adapt as women. We're very, very adaptable. And
Yeah.
we just say, oh, I can do that. And of course we can do that because, you know, I'm not putting men down because, you know, I love men. I'm married to one. I've got a son. But it's just that women in their role, we just tend to take it on and take it on and take it on and just keep doing it. And even if we feel tired, it's like, oh, I can add one more thing to my plate. And it's like, you know, no,
Yep.
you know, you can't. You just maybe need a spa day there.
Yeah, yeah. This is really high value. I want to add, you know, it's funny because what's coming up for me is I go, oh, it's not, I don't only have women listeners. And so I go, for the men out there, I think this shows up in such interesting ways too, because I think men are socialized to be tough
Yes.
and not to talk about how they're feeling and not to practice self-care. I think in a lot of ways, I have way more male clients than I have more men than women as clients. And I think part of it is because it's more socially acceptable to get a coach than it is to go to a therapist.
Yes.
And so there's this, and of course I'm also a business coach. So it makes some sense in the way that like, oh, men are coming to me for business coaching, but I'll tell you the guys I work with, they deal with the same stuff. Hard time with self-doubt, fears about money, not taking care of their bodies, relationship challenges, money blocks, all these things. And I love that you talk about advocating for preventative self-care measures, because those things, when we take care of ourselves up front, everything gets easier. When you feel, even meditating 10 minutes a day, like you're saying, it is life altering. I just started doing it this year and I'm like, I cannot believe that I waited until this age to start meditating.
Yeah, no, and like you said, I think men, come on down because we
Yes.
we need to see you in our offices, okay? Because the only time I usually see men is when their women tell them to come in and have, or they've been suffering from something, and their wives go, you know what? I'm getting so tired of you hearing that. I'm making you an appointment today,
Yeah.
and that's when they come in. So it's not that I don't want to talk to men. I
Yeah.
would love to. It's just that you talk to women, because when you talk to a woman, you're educating her mother, her grandmother, her sister, her friends, because they go out and if they learn something, oh, I just learned something, and they'll go out and tell everybody.
Yeah.
Men, they kind of are real quiet. They're in their own little boxes. You know, they're very singular, you know, very, you know,
Yeah.
analytical and stuff like that. And so I'm like, come on. But when they come in the office, they'll sit on the thing and, you know, it's like I have to like pull it out of them, because they're just not as forthcoming. Whereas a woman, when she comes in, she
Yeah.
could sit on my table and I'll know her whole life in about
Yeah.
10 minutes. So that's kind of the difference. So men
Yeah.
need to come to the table about their health care too, because
Yeah.
it's not just about women. Our health, our healthcare parameters today, the environment that it's in today, you must, like we're talking about, you must be the CEO of your own health, whether you are a man or a woman, because it's not the Marcus Welby days anymore. It's not about Doc Baker on Little House on the Prairie days. Okay.
Yeah.
One of the number one causes of death is medical mistakes. And I'm sorry, I'm in the
Yeah.
profession, so I'll say it.
Yeah.
We have huge amounts of opioid dependence in our country today. Drug overdose, people on so many different medications. They doctor hop. People go on Dr. Google and, they rely on Dr. Google or Dr. Oz, and nothing against Dr. Oz. I love the man, but, so there's so many parameters that you really have to understand what's going on in your own health. And you have to
Yeah.
advocate for yourself, because if you don't feel you're getting something, then you need to speak up about it.
Yeah. Yeah. This is really important. I've been really into health and wellness in my life. Like I had natural home births. My first baby I had in a birthing room, and she's on the day of this recording, she's turning 21 today. It's so cool. So shout out to you, Alethea, if you're listening. Happy birthday. So I had her in a hospital birthing room, and then I had 2 home births, and I've done natural medicine. Like my kids weren't vaccinated and they didn't have, they none of them until Alethea got a lot older had any antibiotics, and so it's like I was just so into natural health and well-being, and to me the reason for that is understand your body, because when you go into the doctor's kind of shooting in the dark in certain ways, right? Of course, there's all the medical technology that can help. But when you say the number one cause of death is actually medical, people don't realize that all of the prescription medications that we're taking to mask certain symptoms are actually, there's, I think it's the third cause of death is properly prescribed medications. So it's like we go, okay, this is a big deal. How are you going to prevent getting to the point where you got to go into the doctor and take 10 different types of medications to mask all the symptoms of the things that if you had listened 5 years back, you could have prevented? And it's this self-care piece, right? It's like stress is a killer. We got to start taking better care of ourselves.
Stress is the number one thing, and you can hear about it and you'll read about it everywhere. And actually, the WHO, World Health Organization, just officially came up with the diagnosis of work-related stress. Okay, so it now has its own diagnosis code, because we are seeing it so much of the time. I mean, all the way down to, I have teenagers that come in and that are anxious and that are depressed. We're seeing so much more of it today. It's because, our world has just changed. Jobs have changed. The world that we're living in has changed, and it's very self-pay. It's very fast. It's very technological, which is great, but you have to learn the body has to have time to recover, and the body has to heal itself. I always say the body is such a miraculous machine. But in that sentence, it is a machine. And just like a machine, it needs to be tended to. You need to oil it. You need to take care of it. You need to feed it good, because if it doesn't, it rusts, it falls apart, it no longer works. And like I said, we just don't look at our health the same way that we categorize and look at everything else in our life. And so that's where I'm trying to come in with the dialogue, because I joke with my friends that I said, people will spend money on their aesthetics, getting their nails done, their Starbucks, going to the movies, dinner, food, all those other categories, putting Botox in their face. But if you ask them to spend $45 on a supplement, they're looking at you like, oh my, you want what? You want me to spend that on a supplement? So I say, it's like, for me in my profession, it's like rolling a snowball up the side of a mountain in the summertime, because you got to get people to understand, because they don't equate their health. Or the other thing is, they think that their insurance, which is another big one of my pet peeves. They think their insurance is going to cover and take care of everything. And insurance has changed so much today.
Yeah.
And people don't even understand their insurance, which they need to. But it starts with you. You need to know what's going on in your body. And like when you go to your medical provider, you can have an intelligent conversation. And that's what I really want for women, and whether it's men or not, so that you can sit down, you understand what they're saying to you, and you can intelligently respond back to them, because that's what they want to. They don't want it just to be one-sided. Unfortunately, it is sometimes, because that's how it's looked at.
Yeah.
Like, I go to my doctor, or my nurse practitioner, whoever I see, and whatever they say, it's gospel. Okay, well, number one, it is not gospel, because we do not know everything. And I love it when I love it when my patients bring in things and they go, oh, I was reading this online. What do you think about this? And I'm like, okay, that's awesome, because I can't be everywhere. So, if you think this is going on with you and these are the symptoms you're having, mark them down, write things down, have questions ready for your medical provider when you go in, so you can intelligently say, I've been having this problem for 2 months. This is what's going on. Because sometimes I'll get there and I'll go, well, how long has it been going on? Oh, I don't know. I'll go, well, have you taken anything for it? No. Okay, well, try doing some things for your own self too. I'm not saying that you have to be the medical professional, but try doing some stuff first before you run to your doctor and start going down this path, because, of so much money that's run up with tests and unnecessary things, that if people would just have taken a few moments to think about what's going on with their own body, they could actually help themselves a little bit, is another big category.
Yeah. This is making me think. I'm sure the listeners are wondering this too. What would you say is a great roadmap, or what do you teach people in order to be the CEO of your health? What are some of the steps they take? So one thing I hear you saying is start to track and write down and develop a relationship with yourself, with your health, so that you understand what's going on. What are some other tips you'd have for listeners?
Well, my 5 founding blocks are: number one, sleep, de-stress. I know that we can't take stress out of our lives, but figure a way to manage it a little bit better. Okay. Because, none of us are going to sit on the beach, drinking mint juleps with someone peeling grapes for us. It's just not going to happen. but do something for yourself on a daily basis to reduce stress. You can control what goes on the end of your fork. So eat better, learn about it and exercise a little bit more. The body is a machine. Start moving a little bit and, sleep better. Sleep is the next to stress. Sleep is the next number one thing that people come in for. I can't sleep. And it has to do with stress, anxiety, worry, all that kind of stuff. So, 5 foundations, drink more water. Get in the habit of at least having your body's almost 75%, water. So it needs hydration. So those are from the health perspectives. Those are things that you can do for yourself. Start there and start small. Start thinking of your health on your schedule. That it's something that you need to look at. It's something that you need to work on. It's your priority. Your body is your business. Your body is your life. And then, if you're having symptoms, like I said, write them down. And then when you go in, you can say, hey, it started on this time, around this was happening. I'm having XYZ symptoms. These are the things I've tried. This isn't working. And, and then be ready to have a conversation with your medical person. Because if you don't like something that they're saying, let's say if they say, well, I think you should be go on some medication. If that's not your thing, because some people's are, then say, hey, is there some other way that we can approach this besides just medication? Be a part of the conversation. Don't just sit there and allow me to just dictate your entire plan. I can do that. And that's what most people want me to do. But I want to be 50% and I want you to be the other 50%.
Yeah. Like thinking about it like a relationship with your medical provider versus they're the authority telling you exactly what to do, even though they're not living every day with you and they don't know everything that's going on for you.
Absolutely. That's what it is. It's a relationship. It's like if you started a coaching relationship with somebody, you say, this is what I expect from you, and this is what you can expect from me. We know it when you go into the classroom. If you're a student, you know what your teacher, they say the first day of school. These are my expectations. These are my classroom rules. This is what you're going to do, and I expect this from you. We do that in so many other areas of our life, but we don't have that same thing when it comes to, medicine. We're not setting expectations for one another. So, you don't walk into your doctor's office and he says, well, this is what I expect of you, and this is what you can expect of me. But we should, but we just don't.
Yeah.
Right. And if you don't like something, if you feel that you're not getting the care that you need, I tell all my patients, in today's world, you have to fight for the things you want because your insurance company, and I'll say it here, insurance companies can hate me. They're not out for the person. They are a business. They are out for themselves. So you have to fight for things that you want. I have to a lot of times fight for things that I want for my patients because they'll just deny it.
Yeah.
So, if you feel you're not getting something, then say, hey, I want this. If you're not getting it from the person, your provider that you're seeing, find somebody else. Yeah. You need to find someone that you feel comfortable with, that you can talk to. Don't settle for second best.
This is powerful. Something that I hear. Well, one thing real quick. So you said there were 5, and I only wrote down. I did write down 5. So you said de-stress daily, eat better, exercise more sleep, and drink more water.
Yes, okay. Those are the 5 fundamentals.
And this is awesome because it's like, duh, right? These are does, but we don't do them. I talk to people all the time and they're like, they're stressed. They don't do anything to de-stress. When I ask, well, how do you take care of your stress? I don't. People don't do what they know they could do to mitigate their stress. And eating better, it's like one of the simplest things is to just practice conscious eating and exercising. And this is great. So I love that they're so simple. So everyone listening can absolutely implement these today. And then this piece that I'm noticing though, that you keep saying over and over, that's really the subtext of this entire thing is being your own best healthcare advocate, which takes a radical responsibility approach of going, I am the CEO of my health. I'm the CEO of my body. I care what happens to my body. I'm not going to put my healthcare in someone else's hands to just fix all of the things I created by not taking care of myself in the first place.
Yes. Oh, they're saying you said that. Thank you so much. Because if I say that, see, in the medical realm, there's certain do's and don'ts that you cannot say that. And people don't want to, I want to tell people the truth if they want to hear the truth, but most of the time they just don't want to hear the truth. So you've got to color it in a different way. Yeah. Yes. I'd have to say that maybe I'll do it lower. I say 50% of the time people come in for things that they bring upon themselves. Yeah. And they'll come in, they have abdominal pain, and then I'll sit there and I'll ask them, okay, so tell me about what you're eating. What are you doing in your life? And it's like, okay, well, maybe if you didn't eat that, you wouldn't have that. And I
Yeah.
don't mean to say, because you don't want to say somebody's overweight, but maybe if you lost a few pounds, or I get
Yeah.
people who come in and I had a lady, she's so wonderful that she didn't see the light with her diabetes until she got her toe amputated. I've been talking to
Oh,
her for years. Like, okay, you need to get this in control. This is what you need to do. I can tell you all this stuff, but you've got to go home and do it. So
yeah.
she never, yeah, here and there, never really thought about it. And then she got, her diabetes was out of control. She ended
Yeah.
up having to have her toe amputated. And then she comes in and she says, oh, Michele, my God, now the light bulb is on. Yeah, whatever you want me to do. It's not about what I want you to do. It's about what your body needs you to do. And I am just your guide. I'm telling you
Yeah.
how to be the hero, like, in your own story here. So come on. So
Yeah.
that's the thing. You have to be that person, and you have to be willing to receive it. And number one, you have to be willing to take care of yourself and spend some money on yourself, because being healthy takes some time and it takes some effort. It's like anything else.
Yeah. Yeah. I do values-based work with all of my people and workshops and stuff like that. And that has to do with, we spend money, energy, and time on what we value. If you're not spending money, energy, and time on valuing your body, it's going to fall apart, because what you appreciate appreciates, right? So it's
Yeah.
like this idea of, I think something that's so fascinating in that way with the denial, like you're talking about the denial of, like, why don't people take care of themselves? And I think we tend to think that we're invincible for a lot
Yeah.
of our life, and that we're going to live forever, until something big happens. And then we're like, oh crap, my body is actually vulnerable, and I am not immortal. And it's a hard wake up call if you are someone who tends to deny your health and overlook the long-term consequences of the decisions you make. And so I would imagine, from your perspective, it's so, interesting to have clients coming in and patients coming in, and you're like, you had to get your toe amputated to wake up and take care of yourself. So everyone listening, and I think you would agree with me, Michele, it's like, what we want you to hear is take responsibility for your health and start developing a relationship with yourself. If you feel stressed, slow down, meditate, sleep more, spend time with fostering and cultivating incredible relationships. Like, I love business building. It is one of my absolute favorite things to do. And when I start to get tired, to me, it's feedback. When I start to feel stressed and tired and overloaded, I'm like, okay, this is feedback. I'm pushing too hard.
Yeah.
And if I didn't listen to that, I'd break down and get sick. I am, knock on wood, I haven't gotten sick in a long time, because I listen to my body. And when I start to feel off, I go in and I go, okay, slow down, sleep more, rest more. You got to slow down. Because I totally agree with you that if your body falls apart, everything else in life feels off. There's no way I can run a thriving business if my body's not thriving. And so it's something that I highly prioritize. So, there's so many things I want to talk to you about. I love this conversation.
No, it's just like during the day, if you're sitting at home at work or wherever and your computer's on, just, close your eyes for like 5 minutes. I put on I have a sleep habit. A simple habit on my watch, and it goes off, and it's just, I timed it for 10 minutes. So anybody can sit there and just close their eyes, whether you're in your car, wherever you are, for 10 minutes, and just shut the world out for a little bit.
Oh, that's great. I love that. So you have it. Does it go off how often?
It goes off at 5:30. It warns me that, 10 at 6 o'clock, it's time to just sit there and meditate. But, if I'm having a stress day, I just kind of like close my eyes no matter where I'm at. I deep breathe for a few minutes, and it just gives my brain a chance to recalibrate and just do something different. I'm a big proponent of things, because sometimes if I'm busy at my other job, I'm walking all the time. But when I'm at home, I don't. So my watch tells me, okay, you've got 400, you've got 40 steps left in this hour to get to 250, because I time my watch to do 250 steps, every hour, because I want to get up and move and keep my body moving if I'm at home.
Mm-hmm.
Exercise does not have to be hard, ladies. It doesn't, or men, it doesn't have to be that you have to go to the gym and like lift weights if that's not your thing. Just go out and walk, get outside, do something. At lunchtime, do the stairs at lunchtime. I talk to my women about meal prepping more, so that they can be in front of the 8 ball with their food, so they're not at the last minute when you're snacking on junk food. It's just being aware. And once you start being aware, that's the key. Then it becomes, front and center. You see it, you understand it, and then you can start doing it. Read labels more. Be curious more. Don't be so accepting, because our FDA Food and Drug, they don't care if you're healthy. They don't. That's why all the processed foods are loaded with junk. So
Yeah.
learn to read the labels more. Cut down on this a little bit more. Have one less soda a day and one more glass of water. Start small because my guru is Darren Hardy, and like he says, it's the compound effect. Small little daily steps add
Yeah.
up to big stuff long term. And when it comes to your health, big time. Because here's the thing: if you don't start taking care of yourself now, you will be paying for it later on. And
Yeah.
most of us are working. If you're out there working a job, you're working because you're trying to build a nest egg. You want to retire somewhere and you want to be able to enjoy it. So do you want to be able to enjoy it? Well, you've got to be healthy along the way. And
Yeah.
today, the way we push ourselves so much, it's just causing the balance to go in the very opposite direction.
Yeah, I love this. I mean, thinking about the compound effect, it's like I always say success leaves clues. And I think it was like Brian Tracy or maybe
Yeah.
one of the big players in the personal growth and development field has said that. And it's so powerful because it's true. Success leaves clues. Similarly, ill health, you could look back at the history and see the clues along the way that are so clearly leading to ill health.
Yeah.
It's like it's wild that it's like such a simple equation and we overlook it all the time. And so I love that you're saying that it's like taking these small, simple daily steps. And I want to highlight for listeners, write these down. These are incredible. Set your alarm to go off every couple hours to get up and walk. If you don't, maybe you don't have, I don't know what kind of watch you have, but maybe not everyone has that. Use your cell phone then, do something. Don't make the excuse, oh, I don't have one of those watches. On your cell phone, put an alarm that goes off every 90 minutes for you to get up and walk, for you to drink a glass of water, for you to meditate. Set an alarm. I set an alarm at night that goes off to remind me to go to bed at a certain time, because otherwise sometimes I'll just push through and keep working and working. And I'm like, wait, I got to start winding down at a certain time. I got to get my brain to relax because I know how important my sleep is. And, it's changed everything for me. I used to have insomnia all the time, a lot because I would be excited about work. And now I'm like, okay, you need your sleep in order to implement all these fun ideas that you have. So it's these simple little strategies that you're talking about that can make massive differences in your long-term health. So thank you for those tips. Those are incredible. What's the main topics you write about in your online educational site? I mean, I'm sure it's a lot of what we've been talking about.
Yes, I talk about self-care a lot, and I try to incorporate it and weave it into everything. I talk about a lot, and everything is also about nutrition, just because it phases. And I think people, probably go, Michelle, God, I'm so tired of hearing you talk about, nutrition and drinking water. But I keep emphasizing it because it takes 7 times to hear something most of the time before people actually will implement something.
Yeah.
And if you keep saying it, at some point, hopefully it's going to click and it will go off, because, and I think because they're so basic, people just forget. So I keep emphasizing it. And I do talk to people all the time about, just eat better, because truly, I mean, nutrition is at the bottom of everything. I can't say that enough. And people today do not eat very healthy at all.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to, I said, if women could get back in the kitchen and start cooking again, I think we could save the world that way. Because
so I'll add women and men there.
yeah, and mention there's a lot of men. Yeah, there's probably more men that cook than women. My husband's one of them. But just being, I guess the biggest thing is I want people to be curious enough and become aware enough to at least think about their health and move it to the forefront of their brain. And move it from the back burner to the front burner, and realize that you are important.
Yeah.
You are more important to yourself than anybody else.
Yeah. The question I'm thinking of that people can ask themselves, what if I align my day by prioritizing my health? How would your day look different? And actually thinking about how that would optimize everything else. It isn't a drawback. It's actually a benefit on multiple levels in multiple areas. If we just said, what am I going to do to change my habits toward aligning my day toward health, feeling good in my body and feeling good in my work, which then resonates or vibrates out to the people that you work with. It's a very powerful thing. Yeah. I love that. One thing, and I want to ask you, what's the name of your, where can people go to find your information?
So our website is wellwomannetwork.com.
Okay.
And they can go there, and we have a blog, although I'll be honest, I haven't blogged in a while just because I'm more into podcasting these days, just like you are. So we have we have a podcast, and it's called Well Woman Healthy Lifestyle. It's on iTunes and it's on all the major ones too. So it's there, and you can go get our blog. We're on Facebook. We're all over, kind of like you, on Instagram, just because we're trying to spread the word to, and getting out there. And then like a health, like business, well, business is probably more popular than health. It's just trying to get people to become aware and really trying to have them grasp onto the concept that health is fun and that it doesn't have to be hard and it doesn't have to be expensive, and it looks different for everybody. That's the thing. I think that's the other, point is your body and who you are is different from your friend, your mother, whatever. So what works for them may not work for you. So be, in tune to finding things that, that fulfill you and that are good for you and that you can do, not that what somebody else is doing. And don't judge yourself and measure yourself by other people. Look at your own parameters, because you measure yourself against the person you see in the mirror, not everybody else out there.
Yeah. And I love that, tying back to thinking about how you are in charge of your own health. You are going to have a different diet than somebody else of course, there's certain things. It's like eating more fruits and vegetables and whole foods and all those things, but you're going to thrive at a different level with a certain diet. But you can only figure that out if you track and relate to yourself. Mm-hmm. And you start to see how you feel when you eat a certain way and what time you go to bed. Like I have friends who need 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night. I would die if I did that for more than a couple of days. I mean, I wouldn't die, but I would feel horrible. And that doesn't work for me. And so I always wished I could be a superhuman who needs no sleep, but it's not happening. No. So I want to ask, what would you say are the top 3 max potential health habits that you would want to share with listeners?
I would say number 1 is to just start taking yourself as a priority, moving yourself onto your schedule, put yourself on your schedule.
And
daily.
When you say yourself, your health, you tell me a little more.
Put your health on your schedule. Yes. You just schedule it, because like everything else in your life, if you're not scheduling it, for most of us, it doesn't get done. Uh-huh. And after a while, it'll become a priority. Drink more water, and number 2, I would say de-stress. One of the most important things too is to really find areas of your life that you can start to add just calming methods to. Find somewhere to de-stress, because that is the number 1 cause of all illness today. And it causes inflammation, which is leading to cancer, everything. Mm-hmm. So, besides being your number 1 self-care advocate and start putting yourself first and scheduling yourself, find areas in your life where you can de-stress in little small ways, And then I think number 2 is really just starting to, look at your health journey. Where do you want to go? Look at your health today. Is it where you want to be? Mm-hmm. If it's not where you want to be, then you have to start taking steps in order to move it into a different direction. Mm-hmm. And I read this thing this morning by John Maxwell, and he said, leaders are not born, they are developed. Mm-hmm. And your health is the same way, ladies. It's developed. It's a journey. And the journey is going to change, from month to month, maybe year to year, different age stages you're in, men too. It changes. So take time to reflect, just like you sit down at the beginning in January and you reflect on the coming year, or in December, like what you want for the next year, as far as like most of us want like business, and we looked at and we put all of our business goals down. Do the same thing for your health. Mm-hmm. What health goals do you want for the next year? Where do you want to be different in a year from now? What can you change that or isn't working? Because if you look at yourself and you're not healthy, then obviously the things that you're doing have not been working. So be willing to be open to change.
Yes, I love this. These are great. This is an incredible conversation that every single human being needs to hear, whether you're building a business or not. And I'd say especially for people who are business owners, because I think that entrepreneurs and solopreneurs and business owners tend to push themselves really, really hard, because it's a very specific mindset and an entrepreneurial spirit, which I think is very powerful and driven. And that can cause some people to overlook those health aspects that are also so important. And if you think about the longevity of your business, it's related to the longevity of your health.
Absolutely.
So this has been incredible. Thank you so much. So if people want to interact with you, I'm going to put all the links in the show notes for everyone listening. So wellwomennetwork.com and the podcast, Well Women Healthy Lifestyle. And do you release shows how often on the podcast?
The show's released once a week on Wednesdays.
Okay, awesome. And when you say we, is it a group of practitioners or is it you and your team?
It's me and my team.
Cool.
But me,
okay.
yeah.
So you do it. And do you do interviews or is it solo casts?
I do. We do interviews. We do solo cast. We're trying to get, we're looking at a lot of good ones for 2020. So we're gearing up for 2020.
Awesome.
Kind of just took more of a solopreneur adventure this year.
Cool. I love it. That's great. All right. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been a joy. I hope everyone got a ton out of it. If you liked what you heard, take a screenshot, send it out to the social media channels that you prefer with the hashtag NFA Coaching and I'm always on at NFA Coaching on all my channels. I'd love to hear from you what you're getting out of this. And I am signing off. I hope you have an incredible, thriving week where you take care of your health, you put your health first, you remember that you're the CEO of your health, you prioritize it, you drink more water, you de-stress, all these awesome tips that Michele has brought to us today. So have an incredible week where you thrive and feel alive.